They're natural antibiotics, but they don't wipe out things. They don't stimulate anything other than normalizing or modulating your immune system. Another question that comes up, what about autoimmune conditions? What happens if I take something that's going to ramp up my immune system? So that's why you don't do, if you have an autoimmune condition, you typically would not do what we call a medicinal herb, like garlic or olive leaf extract, or echinacea, or oregano oil, milk thistle, dandelion leaf. You typically wouldn't do those because they stimulate the immune system, right? They only move it upwards. You want something that helps bring it back into balance. And what we see is a big onset of immunosuppressant medications for people that have autoimmune conditions. Medicinal mushrooms come in because they are immunoadaptogenic. They help your immune system adapt and normalize. They're modulatory. That's the term, immunomodulatory, right? That's the intelligence that I'm talking about. All the food and all the stuff I'm talking about increases your biological intelligence. Your body is intelligent. Your body knows what to do, but you gotta feed it information. It's like anything, right? If you don't use it, you lose it. Most people aren't using their heart, right? So they lose it, right? So you gotta educate your biology in order to return to your neotenized self, your youthful self. This conversation of creating invincible health, let's say, is immunological momentum. It's a good term to think about, immunological momentum. It's not like tomorrow we're going to have an impenetrable immune system. That's how a lot of people think. They're like, oh, let me do this thing, that thing, okay, and now I'm fortified, I'm good, I'm protected. It's a progression, as we've referenced before. So you're creating a situation inside yourself where you're momentously moving forward. There's a momentum with your immune system to the point where it becomes so hyper intelligent, so fortified, that literally you don't need to ever think about getting sick ever again under any circumstance. That's where I'm at. That's where I'm at with the whole thing, is I don't get sick for any reason under any circumstance that I've been aware of up to this point, and I've pushed it. I've done sleep deprivation 3 nights in a row, just writing books, just like, how far can I push this? What can I do? I don't recommend that, but being in an environment like this, being in Hawaii, being, in Sedona during the winter, and just being full on with my whole deal, I might get tired. I might get bags under my eyes, I might get, those things, but I don't get sick. I don't get the common cold, right? The common cold. If you're getting the common cold, that means that there's like virtually no immune system present. It's offline. That's a really important idea to just drive forward, because everything comes down to immunology. Your immune system. How protected is your immune system? How intelligent are the white blood cells of your immune system, the macrophages, the T and B cells, the natural killer cells, all the different functions of your immune armada, your immune artillery weapons, if you will. How much are they really functioning? And so when we think of vaccines and antibiotics, this is an interesting thing to me. I'm not anti-vaccine, just so you know. I'm not. I'm anti-toxin. I'm anti-neurotoxin. Does that make sense? You get that distinction? Vaccines are important. Vaccines have been used for thousands of years. The first syringe was discovered in the 1600s, officially. But now there's new evidence that the syringes may have actually been around for thousands of years. Right? And so this vaccine idea is nothing new. It's actually been around for a long time. It's not new, idea. It's just a way for certain industries to take ownership over certain advancements in health, like sterilization, for example. But vaccines have been used for a long time. The only difference is we had natural methodology for vaccination. And now my argument that I put out there, and that a lot of other people much more qualified than me are putting out there, is that we need this technology, but we need to use the right technology. The vaccines that we're using, which is basically like black magic, it's like witchcraft if you study the ingredients. I think I mentioned that before. It's like Macbeth and the witch's brew, just throwing random things in there. You study the ingredients, it's like, whoa, this is way crazier than that. What if we just experimented with ozone therapy in the presence of an infection? What if we just experimented with vitamin C therapy, intravenous vitamin C therapy?
They do that.
Yes, they do, right? But that's like undercover. This stuff is being done every single day, and people are recovering every single day. But it's not, you're not going to find it on the mass media news outlets. You're not going to find it at your local pharmacy.
You have to do that on your own.
You have to research it on your own, right? And that's why I'm so passionate about putting it out there. If you look at your immune system, 80% of it is dictated by beneficial bacteria. When somebody has candida, that's also known as a dysbiosis. Dysbiosis meaning an imbalance of bacteria, right? Typically you want somewhere about 80 to 20%. 80% beneficial bacteria, the bacteria that help metabolize and digest food, right? And create neurotransmitters like serotonin. Most of your serotonin is produced in your gut by bacteria. So that's an important thing to realize too. And you want like 20% maybe opportunistic bacteria. It's an appropriate ratio. What's happening is we're completely reversed. And what antibiotics do, pharmaceutical grade antibiotics, across the board. Now there's cases where people have a serious infection, like a urinary tract infection or a kidney infection. Antibiotics are critical, so important. But again, same perspective as the vaccines. Do you guys know what the first antibiotic was ever used before pharmaceutical industry came along? The very first antibiotic, silver, colloidal silver specifically. World War I, we didn't have antibiotics the way we know of them yet. So they used colloidal silver. And it knocks out things just like on contact, clears up infections, saves people's lives. So what happened though, what happened is that the pharmaceutical industry came along and they started to create their version of antibiotics, and they actually outlawed colloidal silver from being marketed as an antibiotic. They were no longer to market it that way. They said that it could only be marketed as a mineral supplement. Interesting, right? So what we're doing is we're returning to old wisdom, right? Ancient, old, brand new, or ancient, new, brand old, whatever. A little phrase there, right? Folk technology, returning to what's natural and normal and what actually has a track record and doesn't wipe out your entire biome, your bacterial environment, your garden, which we know that all conventional antibiotics do. They may save someone's life, and I'll give it respect on that count, but it also wipes out your entire bacterial load and causes immunological collapses 100% of the time.